Hi there, my name is Amanda Fauteux. I'm an interdisciplinary artist from Sackville, New Brunswick, though right now I'm recording this video from Ōtepoti, Dunedin in Aotearoa, New Zealand. So for a long time, my work has been concerned with site specificity, looking at what's around me, and thinking critically about my relationship to my surroundings. I work primarily through site-specific installation and performative gestures. One of the ways that I think through site specificity is to learn about and understand the context of the land that I'm on. Whose land is it? What is the history here? And for this, I find that nativeland.ca is a really important starting point. So I'll just share my screen and I'll show you that resource. As you can see, it opens up a global map. If I use where I am right now as an example, I can click on the lower South Island of Aotearoa and see that I'm on the land of Ngāi Tahu. So plants are another way that I look critically at site. Learning about plants, their ecology, their significance in particular areas helps to inform my practice. In summer 2019, I was able to attend a plant walk at Amnagok Nyugati Mepisam Auti, the Fort Folly Medicine Trail, that was organized by the Owens Art Gallery and led by Elder Gilbert Sewell. This was a really formative experience, and I've included a link to their interpretive panels, so you can read about some of the plants and stories that were shared that day and maybe discover them in your own backyards. So I'll just share that with you here. And as you can see, each of the interpretive panels is included online for you to read at home. In September 2019, I attended a residency at a space called De-Construkt in the Red Hook neighborhood of Brooklyn, New York. This is one of many artist-run spaces in New York and around the world that has not been able to sustain itself through the current global pandemic, so it has recently closed. Being there last year brought on a really significant development in my art practice in that I started to collaborate with my partner, Miranda Bellamy. Prior to working together, our practices were very much in dialogue and shared many similar methodologies and concerns. But during our time in Brooklyn, we turned our attention specifically to wild plants that were growing in cracks and crevices all around us. I discovered the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens Weed of the Month blog post, which I'm sharing with you now. The weed of the month for May 2020 was field horsetail, which I'm certainly familiar with. And I found this a playful resource for anyone interested in learning about weeds. While in New York, we also heard about the work of artist Andrea Collard, who in 1978 made a film about the tree of heaven, or Ailanthus altissima, which grows ubiquitously all over New York. This film really resonated with us and with the work that we had started to develop. It's online, so I've included a link to watch it here, and I'll just play a few seconds for you now.
I observed a tree growing abundantly in all the empty spaces around New York. And I began to study them. I read everything in the library, had some of it translated from the German.
Learning about the city's parks and green spaces was part of our research while we were there, and that led us to the story of Seneca Village and Central Park. Seneca Village was established in 1825 and was the first Black settlement in the city. In 1857, residents were forced out and the village was destroyed to make room for Central Park as we know it today. People living in Seneca Village were among the few Black New York residents who had gained the right to vote through the owning of property. By taking away their property, the city reduced drastically the political agency and engagement of its Black residents. Learning about the story of Seneca Village made me think about something that happened more than 100 years later and much closer to home. I'm talking about Africville, which was a small and predominantly Black community in Halifax, established in the early 1800s and destroyed by the city in the 1960s, displacing people that had for generations called the community home. There's a great documentary on the NFB website called Remember Africville, and you can watch that documentary for free by streaming from their site. So I'm also sharing that with you today. Linking back to Central Park and our research, the site of Africville is now a memorial park with a museum and walking trails. So it's by thinking through plants, where they are, what's around them, that I make links to broader social and cultural histories and contexts that are interwoven with site. This is something that really interests me in my practice. To find out more about what plants can be found and where, I sometimes look at inaturalist.org. This is a site where users can upload images and locations of plants that they have found, and the community offers help in identifying the plant species, which results in a global map of plants and locations. So for example, if I use the tree of heaven in the search bar, I can view observations. And that opens a global map of sites where the tree of heaven, Ailanthus altissima, has been observed. A very beautiful artist project that is tree related and can be enjoyed at your local park or even at home, if that isn't something that you have access to, is Benny Nemirovsky-Ramsey's Trees Are Fags. It's an audio walk that works through the etymology of the word faggot. I'll let you experience the rest on your own from the project's dedicated website, which I've included a link to here. On the subject of trees, I just listened to Leah Garnett's most recent episode of Drawing on Air with special guest Leanne Zanier that was put on by the Owens Art Gallery in partnership with CHMA Radio and Struts Gallery and Fawcett Media Art Center. In the first drawing exercise, Leah offers prompts for drawing the smell of a walk she took in the forest, the smell of pine needles and pine pitch. So I would encourage you to grab some drawing tools and have a listen at the Owens TV Vimeo channel, which also has lots of artist talks, studio visits, and other interesting videos to check out. I'm also linking to a current project that the Owens is doing called Owens Video Club, which is streaming a new video every Thursday in June and July that examines our coexistence with the natural world. So again, this really connects to the work that I'm doing and has been a really interesting resource following along since the start of June. And I've been enjoying looking through The Botanical Mind, which is an online project put together by the Camden Arts Center in response to COVID-19. It looks at humanity's relationship to the natural world through 6 chapters, being the cosmic tree, sacred geometry, indigenous cosmologies, astrological botany, as within, so without, and vegetal ontology. The last resource that I'm going to share I look at whenever I need a little boost. This is an interview with artist Rita McCoe, who is such an inspiration. It's put together by Canadian Art Magazine, and when I watch it, it reminds me to never get apathetic, to keep going. I just love hearing artists talk about why they do what they do, and this is a great example of that. So I hope you enjoy the links that I've shared with you today, and thank you. Bye.